Episode 23: The Hidden Forces Behind Desire. Most people believe they know what they want. They want success, love, money, freedom, respect, security, happiness. The answers often seem obvious. Ask someone what they desire, and they will usually respond immediately, without hesitation, without uncertainty. Yet Sigmund Freud believed something unsettling. He believed that people often do not fully understand their own desires. They know what they want, but they do not know why they want it. And that distinction changes everything. Because the conscious mind sees the destination, the unconscious mind often determines the direction. Imagine standing beside a river. The surface appears calm, predictable, easy to understand. But beneath the surface, powerful currents are moving, currents that influence everything floating above them. Desire works in much the same way. The conscious mind sees the surface. The unconscious contains the currents. This helps explain one of life's most common mysteries: why people achieve what they thought they wanted and still feel dissatisfied. A person spends years chasing wealth, finally becomes wealthy, yet the fulfillment never arrives. A person spends years seeking status, receives admiration, receives recognition, receives attention, yet still feels incomplete. A person spends years pursuing approval, finally receives validation, yet still doubts their worth. The goal was achieved, the desire remained. Why? Because the visible desire was often a symbol, not the real destination. Money may represent security. Status may represent significance. Approval may represent love. Control may represent safety. The object itself is often less important than what it represents psychologically. Freud believed that unconscious needs frequently disguise themselves as conscious desires. This creates confusion, because people pursue the symbol while neglecting the underlying need. They chase achievement when they are really seeking worth. They chase admiration when they are really seeking acceptance. They chase control when they are really seeking safety. The behavior makes sense. The motivation remains hidden. This is why two people can pursue the exact same goal for completely different reasons. Imagine two individuals building successful businesses. Both work hard, both become wealthy, both appear ambitious. Yet psychologically, they may be completely different. One enjoys creating value. The other is desperately trying to prove they matter. The behavior looks identical. The unconscious motivation is entirely different, and motivation changes everything. There is another fascinating aspect of desire. Human beings are naturally drawn toward what they lack. The lonely person seeks connection. The insecure person seeks validation. The powerless person seeks control. The uncertain person seeks certainty. This tendency is not necessarily unhealthy. In many cases, it drives growth. It motivates action. It encourages development. The problem begins when people believe the missing object will permanently solve their discomfort. The mind creates a promise. Once I get this, everything will be different. Once I earn enough money. Once I find the right partner. Once I achieve success. Once people respect me. Then I will finally feel complete. But reality rarely follows this script. The goal is achieved. The excitement arrives, then gradually fades. Soon another desire appears, then another, then another. Psychologists call this adaptation. Freud observed a similar process through desire itself. The mind continuously seeks satisfaction, yet satisfaction often remains temporary. This is why desire can become endless. The object changes, the longing remains. Many people spend years chasing external solutions to internal problems. The external achievement creates temporary relief. The deeper need survives. There is another source of desire that fascinated Freud: childhood. Freud believed that early experiences shape many of the motivations people carry into adulthood. A child who feels ignored may become an adult desperate for attention. A child who experiences instability may become obsessed with security. A child who receives love only through achievement may become addicted to success. The adult sees the desire. The unconscious remembers its origin. This does not mean childhood determines everything, but understanding the past often explains the present. An explanation creates freedom, because what is understood becomes easier to change. What remains unconscious continues operating automatically. Carl Jung expanded this idea in his own way. While Freud focused heavily on instinct and unresolved conflict, Jung emphasized meaning and growth. Yet both agreed on something important. People are often unaware of the deeper forces influencing their desires. The conscious explanation is frequently incomplete. This is why self-awareness matters. Without self-awareness, desire becomes a form of unconscious guidance. The person moves through life chasing goals they barely understand. Sometimes they achieve them. Yet, regardless of the outcome, confusion remains, because the real issue was never identified. Imagine spending years searching for water, only to discover you were actually thirsty for something else entirely. This is how many desires operate. The surface desire captures attention. The deeper need remains hidden. One useful question can expose this process. When you want something strongly, ask yourself, why? Then ask again and again. Continue until the obvious answer disappears. Eventually, deeper motivations begin emerging. Perhaps you do not want success. Perhaps you want respect. Perhaps you do not want respect. Perhaps you want acceptance. Perhaps you do not want acceptance. Perhaps you want to feel worthy. Layer by layer, the unconscious begins revealing itself. The process is uncomfortable, but illuminating. Because understanding desire creates freedom, you stop blindly obeying every impulse. You begin understanding it. There is another reason this matters. Unexamined desires often control behavior. A person desperate for approval becomes easy to manipulate. A person obsessed with status becomes trapped by comparison. A person terrified of rejection sacrifices authenticity. A person consumed by insecurity abandons truth in pursuit of acceptance. The stronger the unconscious desire, the greater its influence. Awareness weakens that influence, not by eliminating desire, but by making it visible. The goal is not to become free of desire. Human beings will always desire things: growth, connection, meaning, achievement, love, purpose. To know what you want, why you want it, and whether the desire is helping you grow or keeping you trapped. Because not every desire deserves obedience. Some desires create fulfillment. Others create suffering. Wisdom lies in recognizing the difference. In the end, most desires are not really about the objects themselves. They are about what those objects symbolize: security, belonging, worth, love, meaning. And once you begin understanding the hidden forces behind your desires, you stop chasing blindly. You start living consciously. And that may be one of the most important psychological transformations a person can ever experience.